Hey, ladies, I'm on vacation right now, as you can tell, and I get a little bit lost with the breeze and the ocean. And I just don't even what month is it right now? Hold on, what'd you say? Did you say September? Oh my God. Well, oh shit. Oh fuck. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. So sorry about this, guys. No fucking idea. Oh, jeez. Welcome to Guys Being Dudes Fantasy Football. I'm your host, Noah Obsfeld. Quick transition from the vacay. It's time to get to work, okay? Summer vacation is over. It is September 8th. We are out here ready to get back into it. Yes, we are strong, young, working men, but that don't mean we don't got time to do what's most important, and that's sit in our bedrooms at 9:50 on a Wednesday night and record a video and podcast about fantasy football. Okay. Yes, I have meetings in about 12 hours. Yes, I'm out in the world supporting myself. And yes, I will turn $1 and be a millionaire from this podcast. So rest assured, we're on the right path. Guys, welcome back. 2021, a huge season ahead of us. Oh my God, the hype is building. Tomorrow, we have real NFL football. None of that preseason stuff. I don't know what that's about. How are you guys doing?
Oh man, I can't even tell you. I'm so happy to be back. I mean, I feel like it's been such a long off season of news, getting those sleeper notifications about the most random stat. And now it's all here. I mean, tomorrow night, or I don't know when you all be listening to this, but in the coming days, we have the first game of the season. I know for me in the off season, all of my sports teams have been absolutely blowing it. So I'm just excited to get into something where I don't have to root for any specific team and I can get behind fantasy and just be unproductive at work and do what I love. So I'm excited to be here.
I feel that. I feel like for me, it's been the off season has gone by so quickly, and I wasn't thinking at all about football. And then this past month, it kind of just hit me like a train, and everything's all starting all at once, and it's already happening tomorrow. And I couldn't be more excited about it, even though it's the Cowboys. Like whoever does the NFL scheduling and puts Cowboys Bucks week 1 Thursday night, they're doing their job right, because everyone knows it's not going to be close, or it shouldn't be close, but this is such a hyped up matchup. Dak Prescott's return, Tom Brady, this reigning Super Bowl champs. I'm ready.
So exciting. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of yards, hopefully, I assume. And what's the spread on that? I don't think it should be that far. I mean, any given.
It was 7.5. Now it's $8.5.
Any given Thursday.
55. So they're expecting a shootout.
Well, that should be an awesome game. Good to see Dak back. Good to see CD in his hot sophomore year. I'm a little hot for CD myself. Anyways, guys, let's get into it. Boys, it's good to be back on the mic. Speaking of Mike, couldn't be here tonight for various reasons. Probably will be here in the future. And I think, there we go.
Fingers crossed.
We do have Jared Williams here on day and myself, Noah Obsfeld, in the house. Let's get started. First off, we got to go over some injuries. They're going to be affecting the fantasy landscape. I think most of these were already accounted for in the drafts and in the waiver wire. But let's talk about a few situations that have kind of been bustling in fantasy. First and foremost, rookie sensation J.K. Dobbins, better known, out for the season with a ACL. It's not the Achilles ACL. I've been getting them mixed up. Okay. And thank you. I was got to go with my gut. Got to go with my ACL. So we got Gus Edwards in, as well as Tyson Williams, supposedly the backup, but the Ravens are signing other guys. I mean, where are you guys putting Gus Edwards among the running back landscape?
I think for me, I've always been a huge fan of Gus Edwards. I mean, I love those stories of, the undrafted free agent who just works his way onto the squad. And not only has he worked his way onto the team into a prominent role and getting a bag from the Ravens, he's been one of the most productive backs when on the field. I mean, he's always up there in the top 10% in yards per carry. So I think on this Ravens team that I think last year averaged somewhere near 200 rushing yards a game, he's going to be the lead back. For me, it depends on on the PPR, non-PPR format, because I don't think he's going to catch any balls this year. That's just how the Ravens offense works.
Yeah.
I think his floor in terms of rushing yards and touchdown potential are very solid. I don't have him anywhere, unfortunately, but I would love to have him on my team as a solid RB2.
Yeah,
I have him
nice little thing about him is he's one of 3 running backs in their first 3 seasons with over 120 carries in each of those 3 seasons, average over 5 yards per carry. That's not a lot of people to do something that good. And
but let me ask you a question. Ravens designed run team. You have a big threat in the pocket and outside the pocket. By the way, just finally got my little collar look going with the Honolulu Blue. Only took me the first 8 minutes of the show. Anyways, how much of that is a product of the Ravens, and how much of that can Gus actually carry the load? Because I mean, you can imagine J.K. Dobbins' big threat. Put Gus in, he's getting a lot of carries, but you might have the defense, preparing for Lamar. But you think Gus can really drive this ship? It's a lot of responsibility being the running back for the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. I think the Ravens offensive scheme makes it so that whoever, if it's me or you running behind that line, is going to get positive yards on a carry. And I think with the talent of Gus Edwards, it doesn't matter if it's him or J.K. Dobbins. Whoever's leading the charge and getting the most touches is going to be valuable. And I think he obviously has the talent to do it. We'll see if he can hold up to the workload that's going to be coming his way, because he's obviously never been tested. I don't even think in college he was tested to that level. So that could be something to keep in mind. I know they just signed Le'Veon Bell to the practice squad. I would caution listeners out there, don't jump the gun and go sign Le'Veon Bell for the name. If you do, trade him immediately. Trade him immediately. His trade value will not be higher than it is now. So, if that's...
I really liked Tyson Williams as a last round pick. But I saw a tweet that was pretty convincing. Le'Veon Bell is better than Tyson Williams was the tweet. And I was like, that's a pretty good argument. I mean, but their RB2 in Baltimore's always had value. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm definitely going to have one of them on. They're whoever comes out as that guy who gets 5 carries this week, it might be, they got to be rostered. Let's move on. Cam Akers, the other big offseason injury. That was an Achilles?
Yes, correct.
Dude, I gotta be confident in myself. Okay. I gotta trust my ACL is the new phrase. Injury house injury expert. Cam Akers, another guy people are really excited about. He was going really early in the early offseason, second round. And so you got Daryl Henderson, and this is an interesting story because Daryl Henderson and Cam Akers were kind of going, the bout in the beginning of the season, trying to get their starting spot. Daryl Henderson had some 100+ yard games. I mean, he was a competent Rams running back. When you have a good defense like that, you need a guy to just close out games. And Daryl Henderson is absolutely that guy for me. Now, Sonny Michelle, also very experienced. That's not a scrub off the streets. That's a guy with Super Bowl experience. It's Daryl's job until he loses it, in my opinion. Anyways, Jared has some opinions on Sony, apparently.
I think Sonny Michelle has no agility whatsoever. His knees are rooted. He's disgusting. I hate him as a football player. But, I mean, Daryl Henderson he sprains one finger, misses a couple weeks of practice, and he drops from getting drafted 50th to 70th in a week.
Yeah, I've been 2 leagues. It doesn't
make sense.
Yeah, I have been in a bunch of leagues. I think it's the same thing with Gus, where does the coaching staff have the, belief that he can handle a large workload, because he's gotten injured basically at every step. He was injured in college. He was injured his first year. So is there a belief from McVay and the coaching staff that he can handle the bell cow role? And I don't think he needs to, is the thing. I think he's not going to be Gurley. He's not going to be CJ Anderson from yesteryear. He's going to be on an efficient offense that's going to get a ton of goal line carries. And that's what I think matters is, does Sonny Michelle come in and eat the goal line carries? Then we have a problem. But I don't think he needs to be a 25 touch guy to be effective.
Yeah. And then we kind of have our end of the trio there with these like early 4th round running backs with James Robinson after geez, help me out, guys. This is how
Travis
out of
Etienne.
thank you, out of funk I am today. Travis Etienne's out for the season as well. Injury expert.
Liz Frank surgery.
Amazing. He knows who's performing the surgery. Anyways, between these 3 guys, James Robinson, Gus Edwards, and Daryl Henderson, I first want quick rankings. Go.
Gus, who is it? Gus, Daryl, and
James Robinson.
James.
I think
James number 1.
Gus, Daryl.
I think that's okay. So I think that was the only answer. I just want to see if there's any hot takes around here. Okay. That being said, I mean, who of those 3, I mean, who do you think is the best value where they're being drafted? Because I'm picking all 3 of these guys up in a lot of leagues because volume is king and they're going to get work. I think
Gus.
Okay.
I'll start off with Gus just because I think given his workload last year, getting around 10 carries a game, I think that's going to shoot up to 15. And I think that where he's getting drafted, between 50 to 60. It's such a good value. Whereas James Robinson, you're having to pick mid-30s and you're going to get maybe, with Carlos Hyde eating carries, you're going to get maybe 3 more carries a game, I feel like. So that's why I think Gus is just slightly better based on that value.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the same boat. The problem with me is I'm in a lot of leagues with folks who aren't necessarily super engaged with fantasy, and I know a lot of them are taking James Robinson above where his fantasy pros or whatever ADP is because of that, taste in your mouth from last year. He was, your league winner. He was the guy who got you there. And so when you see positive news, he was going early in all of my drafts. So I love James Robinson. I don't think he's necessarily a value at this point, but so I would say Gus, probably Daryl Henderson, depending on the situation. I mean, I think Daryl Henderson has the potential to be the best value because, like Jared said, he's fallen so far. And when you look at New England's backfield 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, everyone was saying, oh yeah, Sonny Michelle is dead in the water. His legs don't work. No one was excited about him there, but then he gets traded to the Rams and now it's, oh, could he be the alpha? So it's one of those things where it's, news becomes hype where it doesn't need to be. So we'll see. I mean, McVay, you never know. So I would probably say Daryl as my final answer, but
I'm going to actually go against the grain here. I'm going to go with James Robinson. I think these guys all the key here is their floors, right? They all have really good floors. They're going to get the starting work. We've seen James Robinson perform top 5 upside. I think like we see those seasons and they usually do falter, but it's like, we'll have a guy like Austin Eckler, I feel like has kind of been had some injuries and he's back up vaulted to the top because we know that's his talent. Like James Robinson's really talented. And I think where you're getting him, the floor value might not be where Gus is because we don't really know what the offense is going to look like. But yeah, I think James Robinson's that guy. RB17, if it has Fantasy Pros has him at RB17. I mean, above guys, running backs drafted before him, David Montgomery, Chris Carson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm going to take him after each of those, but I like where he's at. And then getting into some more news, Saquon, one of the hottest debates of the offseason. I've seen him go as high as 6. I am personally just out on the Giants completely, but I am worried because I always think back to Allen Robinson like 2 years ago, and he fell in every single draft. He was like 30th, I remember, and he was always on the top of every board, and he just had a great season. And at some point, there is kind of a rule I've applied is like, and I think this year it's going to be with Kenny Galladay. This is why I'm bringing up on the Giants. Is this guy who sits on the board for like 15, 20 picks before someone picks him 20 slots after he's ranked. And it's kind of an easy prediction to be like, all right, that's probably the guy. People just have groupthink too much about Kenny Galladay. He's a really great talent. Saquon here, though, still kind of a fringe first round, like 11th pick. I feel like maybe 8th pick, 8 to 11. I'm just not excited about the Giants. Daniel Jones is not the guy. He's never been the guy. And it's like weird because Darius Slayton, I feel like they kind of have an Adam Gase going in all parts of New York, because Darius Slayton has like flashes of brilliance. We have Kenny Golladay in there who could be an elite receiver, and his offense is crowded. It's unorganized. I'm not excited about Saquon. I think I'd be taking him after Najee, I would take him before Mixon. I would take him after Eckler.
Or Clyde.
I would after Gibson, before Clyde. Yeah.
That's the point. The point is, we all know the talent, and it just comes down to, at the end of the day, when you're sitting in your draft lobby and Saquon's dropping to you, and you're like, wow, I can get Saquon at the 10th pick. It's like, that seems like probably something I should do. And then you look at the running backs there, and there's just so many high end, like the 12 best running backs are all right now pretty hyped up and pretty elite. It's like you like you said, you get Eckler, you get Gibson, you get Najee dropping to you. And with all the question marks around Saquon, and with, the fumbling offense of the Giants, it's like, at what point do you pull the trigger? And for me, and know what you just said, there's not really a point, I think, that realistically either of us are going to pull the trigger on Saquon. So I think he's one of the most talented running backs in the league, and I'm excited to see him back on the field. It's good for the NFL, but I don't think he's going to be on any of my I know he's not going to be on any of my fantasy teams.
So yeah, none of us currently have any shares of him.
Yeah.
Nope.
And guys, I actually just quit. I'm cutting back. I'm down from 6 to 5 leagues. So I know I had a problem. I want to be aware of myself and what spend my time doing.
I think that, wait, hold on. That's a good, just quick segue into a couple things that we should get off the top. First of all, follow us at Dudes Football. I don't think it was said at the top. iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever, Facebook, we're there. Also,
sure. We're not on Facebook, but add us. We would love to be your friend.
Add our personal.
No, I mean, we posted the videos on Facebook last year. Anyways, more importantly than that, maybe equally as importantly, this year, breaking news: I will be joining Noah and Jared and Mike.
Oh yeah.
Football
homebrew league, sex at 10, baby.
Sex at 10. So I am now in the league, and we will be letting you know week by week how things are going. Because I know on the podcast I listen to, I would want to hear, who are these people we're listening to for advice, and how are they doing in their league. So we're now all in one league.
You guys want to? Why don't you all pull the league up? We'll do a top 3 pick analysis real quick, and maybe I might even post a poll to the people to see what they think. So. Yeah. I got to preface, 3 wide receiver league, full PPR. I just really want to flex my first 3 picks, really.
Tell us
where'd you pick? What pick overall were you?
I was 10. With the 10th and 11th, I took Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs. And then with like the 30 billionth, whichever my third pick was, Alvin Robinson. So I went triple wide receiver. I went 2 running back heavy last year. Trying to trade away running backs. It just didn't work out. And I want to make sure I got that 3 wide receiver filled.
Nice.
Yeah.
I picked 4.
Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, I picked 4th, and in a full PPR, I was kind of, full PPR, 3 wide receiver league, and I still took Henry above Devontae Adams.
You take Devontae there, yeah. I think both are great.
It's risky, but it's also safe.
Yeah.
I think honestly Henry's the right choice.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking at the time. And then in the second round, I got Jonathan Taylor on the turn or near the turn. Could have went receiver again, but one of our good friends over here took who I was looking for.
It's not bad value on Taylor.
No, it's pretty good value on Taylor. And then round 3, I think I reached just a tad bit on AJ Brown based on where he was going and the injury reports around him at the time. Wasn't fully practicing, but I know how you guys feel about AJ Brown, so I think you guys are okay with that.
This is an 8 Pro AJ Brown cast.
And then for me, I was picking out of the 6th spot, and I took Zeke in the first round, which I found myself doing. I'm kind of in on Zeke, so we'll see. I was out on him last year, and I'm in on him.
Zeke is fine. Zeke is totally
watching too much Hard Knocks over here,
especially in PPR. And then
he looks like Jared this year.
Yeah, he's
got real fit.
He's looking good. And then I think, on the turn. What I've been doing in a lot of drafts, Ridley is falling to me, and he's sitting there. I
love Ridley.
And there's just I'll get into it later in the show, talking all about Calvin Ridley, but I took him in the 2nd round. And then on the turn of the 3rd, I don't know who I took first, but I think I took Clyde Edwards-Helaire. with my third pick, or Chris Godwin, whichever of the two I took earlier. I assume it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But
It was.
I think that was a pick where I wasn't stoked about it, but he fell to me. He had 1,400 yards last year in 13 games, and the touchdown, it just, whether you believe the touchdown is going to come back or not, I do personally.
Clyde is one of those guys I have no feelings on.
Yeah, I just feel like he's solid. And in a PPR, he was drafted to be a pass catcher. So, I mean, sometimes it takes a year or two. So I'm happy with my draft. I was projected 9th out of 10th, or maybe 10th out of 10th in the ESPN bullshit projections. So we'll keep you updated. But,
I think like for me, the lower I've been, the more successful my season is. Yeah, I like that. Between the three, I honestly like the AJ Brown cap. I think Henry, JT, and AJ Brown. I
had a lot fall to me, and then I overdrafted Tyler Lockett.
I had 11th, 12th picks everywhere.
Yeah,
I had one first overall, and then I had 10 and below for the rest.
Well, let's talk about that. What were the guys that you targeted most?
Yeah, I mean, at least I had to align my strategy. I mean, really, I have a lot of Tyreek. I have Diggs in a few places. Today, long story short, I didn't refresh. I didn't realize the guys were back in the draft room. $1,000 buy-in league. I auto-drafted the first two picks with Eckler and Chubb. So it went completely against my philosophy, but I don't hate it. I didn't like Chubb this year specifically, and Eckler is now like injured. But the rest of my team I really liked. They kind of all came together. I'll read it to you guys. It's a 12-team full PPR.
That's
Herbert,
not bad, then.
Eckler, stack. Chubb, Godwin. Took Cup over Woods. Hot take this year. Anyone, you guys got Woods or Cup?
Woods.
I like Cup. TJ Hawkinson, T. Higgins, Corey Davis, AJ Dillon, Darnell Mooney, David Johnson, Tony Pollard, Trey Lance, Gabriel Davis.
Solid
team.
Solid.
Speaking of Jonathan Taylor, what are we thinking about the Colts right now? Carson Wentz, tricky offseason, looked like it was going to be a ton of time. Then he came back and thought maybe it was going to be just a few weeks. Had a full participant practice today. Looks like he'll play in week 1. And this is really interesting because if you look at like draft rankings, and you look up, Indianapolis, it's literally it's JT1 at 11, big drop to Nyheim Hines at 105, then Michael Pittman at 117. This is half PPR rankings. It's so interesting. They have no faith in this nobody has any faith in this passing offense. So a big debate I had with my friend today, Sam, and I actually promised I'd call him in, but it might be a little bit too late, is Jacoby Myers versus Michael Pittman. He has to drop one.
Ooh.
What do you guys think there?
We'll get into Michael Pittman later. He's in the dock for me. That's someone I want to talk about. But I think just being quick about the injury, because we'll get there. I think that's a good discussion to have. Wentz is back. He's playing week 1. Surprise, surprise. That's pretty impressive recovery.
Rip Sam.
Coach came out and said they want to give Nyheim Hines more touches, but you never know if that's coach speak or whatever. So I think JT has been falling. I mean, early in the offseason, he was like the 6th or 7th overall pick, and now he's, at the turn. So I think he's a good value. And I think it's one of the offenses to look at. T.Y. Hilton's out, so we'll see. Someone's got to step up, and as I'll talk about later, I think it's going to be Pittman. But I think
there's always a lot of mouths to feed there. Yeah. Like they always have guys like Paris Campbell come up, Pittman, tight ends catching passes, running backs. It goes all over the place.
Yeah, I think Jared alluded to it earlier. I think we have a segment, most drafted players for this season. So I can kick it off with some of the guys. We just finished all of our drafts, and I'm sure you guys, by the time you listen to this, you will have finished your drafts. Some of the most common guys we have on our team, and just quickly why we think that is. So for me, I touched on it earlier. At the turn on the second round, I just have full hard eyes for Collin Ridley. I think when he's there have been some guys that I like more than him.
Can I see what those eyes look like?
I need to see him on the draft board. It's only when he's
come on.
But at the second round, I'm sitting there, and there's guys that I have ranked higher. There's guys that go to my strategies that I want more, but I take Calvin Ridley every time. I think I have him in 3 leagues out of my 4.
Wow.
So I'm excited about him.
Jeez.
So fingers crossed. Next, I have a lot of Raheem Mostert. I love Raheem Mostert. I think he's just absurdly talented, and as long as he stays healthy,
there's the key.
Even if he stays healthy, that's a question mark. But even if Trey Sermon gets involved, they run the ball like crazy. They get a ton of yards. We've seen guys like Jeff Wilson and McKinnon and whatever get involved. So I don't think it's going to be a huge problem. He can have 12 carries and end up with 100 yards and a touchdown. And then lastly is Michael Pittman. I've basically drafted him in every single league that I have because he goes so quick, and there's a chance that he's the one. They traded up to get him before Jonathan Taylor. They traded up into the second round and took him before Jonathan Taylor. So they believe in the talent. In most years other than last, it takes the rookie wide receivers, 1 or 2 years to get acclimated. And I think he showed the talent. He showed it in college, and he showed it last year on some big plays. And I think they're going to need, like Jared said, somebody to step up and get those targets. So I'm hoping it's him. I don't think he's a play right away, but I'm super happy to have him stashed there on my bench.
Nice. I drafted so last year I tweeted about this. Josh Allen really didn't have like too big of a hard eyes for him, but he just kept following me in drafts. And I ended up getting him in like half my leagues. And I was like, I just can't take him past the 7th round. This year, that guy was Deonte Johnson. All you ever hear is how he's the 4th most targeted wide receiver last year. He had a few drops and people over, whatever. He's just like, we have Chase Claypool, who I like as a breakout. Juju makes it complicated. But Deontay Johnson is a safety blanket for Ben, who everyone's really hype about Ben right now, looking like his former self. He's a smash play. Him and my flex, that's why I get sleep at night like a baby. And just FYI, on top of Tyreek, Diggs, and Allen Robinson, I do have Deontay in my flex in the 3 wide receiver league. So if you guys have offers, let me know. No, but Deontay Johnson, I really like. 2 more that my number 1 sleeper this year. I'm going deep this year. I have a receiver every year I pick. I think I'm like 2 for 3 on hits. I'm going real deep. And I got a quick story here that you guys have heard a million times before. Used to do recruiting for Texas. One day, short kid, got a nice kind of like a stern look about him. Walks in, already committed to Texas. He was about like 5'8", maybe 4-star out of Kentucky. Talked to him and his parents for a while. Parents love me. Kid, not so much. 2 weeks later, decommits. Didn't think much of it. I think maybe a year and a half later, I think it was like one of those special ESPN notifications. Rondale Moore, 5 billion yards and 10 touchdowns against Ohio State, a little, good old Boilermaker over there, and just blew up the Big Ten. Pretty high draft pick in a place that just is perfect. We know who the wide receiver 1 is. I don't know if you guys heard of DeAndre Hopkins before. Kyler just keeps ascending. And who else do they have there? Kirk. That's over. AJ Green.
That's been over.
I don't really know if I need to say anything about that.
Andy Isabella.
Rondale Moore was a 4-star. He was overlooked in high school. In college, he was obviously overlooked. He came in, he was probably going to sit on the bench for a few years in Texas. He made a good decision, probably. He's out here, wide receiver 2. I think come week 3 or 4, he's going to get that position in stone. He is a quick, speedy guy, perfect complement to DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to be a safety blanket on the outside and the inside, wherever Kyler's going. I love this. Kyler's not going to be as scared anymore. Rondale Moore, I think, is great. I have a bold prediction for him later. Lastly, I have actually even more owned than Rondale Moore because the hype's been building a little bit for Rondale. It's Trey Lance, 3rd overall pick, going to an excellent offense. Yes, a running offense, but Trey Lance is a running quarterback. And Trey Lance is coming in with George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, who I also really like, and a core and a team that's just been able to make an offense happen. Trey Lance, I really like as a breakout, could have a Justin Herbert-esque season. I'm not leaving any draft without Trey Lance. I think I literally have him on every team except for the keeper. Love Trey Lance this year. That's my 3 most drafted players.
What about him not getting the starting job week 1? You worried at all?
Justin Herbert, Tyrod Taylor. All right, let's move on.
All right. So my 3 guys, I'll start the highest drafted first is T. Higgins. T. Higgins is a guy who, as a rookie, people said he wasn't going to do anything. He's a 2nd-round pick. You got a rookie quarterback, no O-line. He's not going to do anything. And every week he was putting up at least 10 points, it seemed like. Now, second year, Joe Burrow's back. I'm expecting the same even with Jamar Chase there. AJ Green's not going to be a target hog and not picking up any catches. So, and I feel like receivers take that extra step year two, kind of like Michael Pittman is going to.
Yep.
Next is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a guy you get around, pick 100 or so, sometimes earlier, sometimes later. And this guy was lighting it up with his feet at the end of last year. And he's walking 20 points a game. I know his offensive line is terrible, but he has the receivers. He's got a new star receiver, hopefully, and he's got 2 tight ends that are formidable at least. So I really like Jalen Hurts for that really strong floor. And then a guy you can get a little bit later in drafts, especially with the injury worries with Deandre Swift, is Jamal Williams, who was a bit of a vulture last year behind Aaron Jones, and I'm kind of expecting the same thing, except maybe a little bit more involvement in the Lions offense. You know, the Lions are the Lions, but
Hey,
there's definitely room, especially with the questionable status of Swift. I know he's fully practicing, but he's a nice handcuff to own when there's only 2 guys there, and he's such a strong backup.
you think he's ranked or being drafted too high to be a handcuff, or are you drafting him with Swift?
I think he's a guy that I'm drafting him with Swift, but I think he's a guy that you can start even if Swift is playing. Kind of like you could sometimes start him.
Yeah,
Last year,
he was like a RB2 for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Like it was wild.
He has standalone value, and especially with Swift being a little hobbled coming into the year, I think week 1, week 2, fire him up.
Kieran, who are you avoiding this season?
Yeah, I think some of us had a couple of overlap on this section, so I changed mine up. I'm noticing slowly but surely that me and Jared have very different views on this fantasy football season.
I will be the decider of the correct answer.
It's great for the show, and it's great for the friendship, just to butt heads a little bit. If we're all saying the same thing, it doesn't help you guys. So for me, first and foremost, I've been avoiding the Bengals wide receivers altogether. That includes Higgins, that includes Jamar Chase, and that includes Tyler Boyd. It's threefold for me. One, Burrow's coming back from a horrendous knee injury, and all reports out of camp where the O-line is not doing anything to protect him. And if he's not being protected and has to get rid of it quick, who's going to get the ball? In my opinion, that's Tyler Boyd. And he's not going to do a ton with it. He might get a lot of receptions, but Tyler Boyd is the one being drafted last. And that takes away from the guys who are being drafted ahead of him. That's T. Higgins. That's Jamar Chase. Secondly, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow have that connection from college. I think my prediction, what fantasy football is, what I'm predicting is I think he's going to force feed Jamar Chase the ball a little bit. He wants that relationship to be there. He trusts him in situations where he's under duress. And
yeah, honestly, his catch in the preseason was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, his one catch, his 0 catches and 4 drops.
I saw Twitter videos, like complete reel of all of Jamar Chase's preseason catches, and it was just the same play with like 8 different angles for like two. It was like literally a 2-minute video.
Yeah,
just like with the huddle music.
Yeah, I think he had 1 catch.
It was a screen.
Five drops, and he had like no drops in college. So, I mean, he missed a year. He's rusty. And then you got T. Higgins, who I think is talented. I agree. I loved him last year, but are there going to be enough targets? Are there going to be enough deep, accurate targets to sustain all 3 of them? I'm out on all 3. Hopefully one breaks out and becomes the alpha, but I'm not going to throw a dart at the draft. To figure out who that is.
I have to obviously choose now on the decision. I liked both of your arguments. Personally, I'm going to have to go with Jared because although I am not a fan of Chase, I'm not a fan of Jamar. I am a fan of T. Higgins. I actually found in some old notes, draft T. Higgins written today for the first time this offseason. I did draft T. Higgins.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I mean, me and Noah, and I think Jason also went to the UT Austin LSU game 3 years ago. And my first time down in Texas, we were, not sober, having a good time, yelling with this packed out crowd. And I look at Noah during that game and I say, holy
just like
shit,
this.
that number one on LSU, I'm drafting him in our dynasty/keeper league. I'm doing it.
But you
And
didn't.
that turned out to be Jamar Chase. He turned out to have 20 touchdowns on the season. That was at the base of the Joe Burrow hype. You know, that was the second, third game of the season. But now I'm here and I can't do it. So moving on. Another one that Jared doesn't like. I'm staying away from Deandre Swift. I have learned my lesson the hard way about Lions running backs, and I don't know if this knee-buckling, espresso shot-chugging coach is going to make all the difference. They drafted this big lineman with their first pick, and he hasn't been performing well in camp. Reports have been awful about Sewell. And I think Deandre Swift is super talented. I don't like running backs, A, for the Lions, B, who are injured in camp. And he's coming in a little hobbled. I've learned that lesson. So I could be proven wrong, and I'd be happy to be proven wrong for the sake of Noah, and hope the Lions do produce someone valuable. But they haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since Reggie Bush. And I don't know if that's going to necessarily happen this year. And then lastly is Adam Thielen. I had trade offers for Adam Thielen. I think he's going to be solid, but for where he's going and the receivers going in the rounds that he's being drafted, I can't choose him over some of the other guys around him. His touchdown percentage is one of the highest in the league last year. And then on the back half of the year, all the targets were going to Justin Jefferson and to Irv Smith, who's not a part of the offense anymore. But you saw the transition happening mid-year last year, and that was targets going down and a touchdown-dependent receiver. And we know how we talked about on this podcast what we feel about touchdowns, and they're sticky. I mean, they're not sticky. They change year over year, and he had something like 10 or 12 last year. That could easily become 6 or 7, and then I don't think he's a value of where he's being drafted.
Sweet. Works for me.
All right, I'll go next.
Yeah.
Two receivers that are picked around where guys we've been talking about, like around T. Higgins area, is Juju and OBJ. And I really don't like either of them there because I don't think the talent is there. It's not really the situation, but I feel like at this point we've seen what they can offer. And there's more young, exciting receivers there. And I don't think those two guys are the ones to be taking where you should be getting them. I feel like is around pick 100, and they're being drafted around pick 60 or so. And another guy is Chase Edmonds, a guy who was a third down back for the Cardinals last year, had a few good PPR games, but what he is he's a third down back. He's not an every down guy. He hasn't proved to be resilient over a full season with a full workload. I'm not expecting James Conner to come in and take full workload, but you're taking Chase Edmonds over guys that have proven to be full-time backs. And I don't think I can do that in the 4th or 5th round, which is where you're getting them.
Yeah, I think just to touch on Juju, I mean, I was looking over some just statistical analysis preseason. And I don't know the last time I saw a guy with his number of catches be under 1,000 yards. It was kind of mind blowing to see. I think he had like 90 catches or something last year, and he had like 800 yards or something crazy. It was
his average depth of target was like under 2 yards.
It's ridiculous. We all are anticipating this Big Ben, coming back into form, but that's just so underwhelming, and it's hard to. Especially considering what he was his first couple of years. He was the number 1 dynasty.
Wild drop off. Yeah.
Easy. So we'll see. Noah?
Did you talk about OBJ?
Yeah.
We did.
Did I just completely miss that?
I lumped those
I think I lumped OBJ and Juju. A lot of J's in there. Speaking of J's, JT Jonathan Taylor. I just don't like where he's going. With Wentz back, it's a different story, but it's just like if you're drafting him, around Eckler, Gibson, Najee, I get it, but I love the player. He's one of my favorite picks last year, but just how safe you need those first round picks to be. Earlier in the offseason, I was really into it, and then I just started to think about the offense, and there's just not much going. Could be wrong. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll have a decent floor, but I'm worried about just the ceiling of a powerhouse offense that he needs to really explode as a top, 8 back. Same thing with Saquon, talked about him earlier. And then a few other backs. There's these guys, Mixon and Miles Sanders, just have that stank to them, you know. Miles Sanders, my dud of the year last year. I just don't, thank you. I'm not a big fan of him this year either. I'm an Eagles fan. My flag's right there on my right, but I just don't love the Eagles this year as a team. And it's just like, there's so much potential there. There's so much young talent. But I just think it's going to be like one more until they really like come into their own. Miles Sanders, too much injury history. Mixon, what's going to be different this year? Like, their O-line's still bad. They have another receiver that's not Joe Mixon volume. Like, Mixon is just baffling to me every year. Give him another chance. Give him another chance. Give him another chance. I'm done with Mixon. Don't draft Mixon. Yeah, there's my 2 cents there. Let's get into some bold predictions. I don't like to toot my own horn, but
do you? I feel like you love to toot your own.
Okay, I do, but only because I'm very good at fantasy football. And last year my picks, all 2 of the 3 of them came true. First one, Dak QB1. I'm still claiming 20 UFC or UCF 2017 national champions. And Dak is a 2020 QB1. Okay. What was he averaging? 800 yards a game. Diggs, I said, Jesus is taking too long. Wide receiver 1. That was a good pick. And then Jonathan Taylor said leads the league in rushing. It was not even close. I mean, Derrick Henry had I'm doing a lot of like big numbers today. He had about 2,000 yards.
You were close.
No, it was like third. It was third, which is close to 1, but it was also like 800 yards behind.
They're bold for a reason.
Fair. Here's my bold predictions for this year. Big Ben and Deonte Johnson finish in the top 10. It's Chase Claypool, I think, has a lot of potential this year, but Juju still, that's a great wide receiver 3. We hate it because it's Juju, but it's still a good piece in the offense. And I love Najee. He's going to be great. I think Big Ben has an outlet to him now. We've seen Le'Veon come in. We've seen James Conner come in and just do great. And I think that's when the offense is the best. Big Ben, Deonte, both top 10. Justin Jefferson. I tried my darndest to get Justin Jefferson from Kieran this offseason. Man is out here in a 3-wide receiver dynasty with Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, and Chase Claypool. It can't just give me a little bit of Justin Jefferson, just a little JJ. I offered him, what did I offer you? Herbert and Waller.
And a third.
And some pick swaps. Said no. I said, what would it take? He said DeAndre Hopkins and Darren Waller. I said, okay, it's too much. But I might buy. I probably get at some point buy him from you, because at some point I'm gonna just be like, Kieran, look at this on paper. Stop bringing emotion to this. I just like him more than you, and I'm willing to pay for it. So that being said,
that's the trade value chart. You know, you look at the players you're getting, and then you look at the players you're giving up, and then you look at how much you like the player. Since Noah likes him more than me, that's how you even out the scales.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, but I always have like a big old target on my back in every league. And Kieran in like multiple drafts this season has been like, don't let Kelsey fall to Noah. He's gonna get him, guys. Come on, we gotta work together if we're gonna stop him. Shut up, Kieran. Let me get Kelsey if I want to.
I did say that in ours.
Guy, if you're gonna be too powerful. For some reason, you're a character in the Looney Tunes as well. Noah, stop. Last, Rondale Moore. We're gonna go 888s, 80 receptions, 800 yards, 8 touchdowns, and bonus bold prediction. I wrote bonus bold prediction, and I kind of forgot what I was gonna say, but I remembered a few minutes ago. Jacoby Myers, wide receiver 1.
Well, his name is, I think it's Jacoby or Jacoby.
Is he Jewish?
I don't know, but I know it's not a hard J at the beginning.
All right, Calvin Ridley.
Alvin Ridley.
Ridley. I'm Ridley for the show, guys.
Jared, you want to take next?
Yeah, I'll go next. All right. I know Kieran hates this guy, but it's all unwarranted, especially because he's at practice this week. Full participant yesterday and today. And that's Deandre Swift. And I'm not one to base my bold predictions off a full participant at practice. But in this instance, I am. Deandre Swift will be a top 15 PPR pick next year based on his success this year. And this is a guy who everyone talks about the Lions are going to get destroyed. We know they're going to get destroyed. Does it matter? No. Last 4 weeks of last year, when he came back from his injury, he had 4 touchdowns. They played the Packers, the Titans, the Bucks, the Vikings. Those are all good teams. He put up 15, 22, 9, and 16 points. Before he got injured, he was putting up numbers as well. And this is a guy who is going to expand his role this
He's putting up numbers? Count me
putting
in.
up numbers. Decent
I,
numbers.
That's honestly some good analysis. That is changing my tune a little bit, but I'm gonna need you to make this bold prediction bold for this year. You need it to be a tangible. Put it on the wall.
Yeah. I don't 15
Okay,
PPR
well,
pick for next year.
Where is he finishing this year in PPR?
Well, he'll definitely be a top 12 back at the minimum.
Let's get bolder.
Is that bold enough? You want me to go to 10?
Well, what is he
10.
being
We'll
drafted
take 10.
as?
10.
It's
Like
got to be.
10
It's
is
got
high,
to
I'll
be
go.
10.
Got to be at least 10.
I'll go 10. Another guy who's going to be a top 10 back.
He's dream drafted at 17. We'll take 10. 10.
10.
All right,
Another guy who's top 10 and should be drafted over people like Saquon, Najee Harris, Antonio Gibson, Chris Carson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire,
Wow.
is David Montgomery. Maybe I should rephrase it. He shouldn't be drafted over them, but he's going to finish higher than that. And the reason he shouldn't be drafted.
Yeah, I was gonna say some. Jared, don't steer him wrong.
David Montgomery is an absolute tank. And people came into this year thinking Tariq Cohen was going to take away some of his pass catching abilities, or not abilities, but his opportunities. Tariq Cohen's not even there. He's just going to soak him up.
I'm going to become more of a pass catcher.
I think the Bears offense is going to be a lot better this year. They're actually going to be able to move the ball and put up points with Justin Fields at the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And David Montgomery was a guy out of college that people were hyping up for a reason. It's because the guy has talent.
I mean, if you ask me,
situation.
I feel like he has the feet of Kamara, the hands of God, the mind of a madman, the knees. What was this? It was like vision of Zeke. Like, what was the graphic?
The thighs of Derrick Henry.
The thighs of Derrick Henry. The mind of Albert Einstein.
Hey, he finished running back 4 last year, so
The heart of
he finished his RB4.
yeah,
Wow.
proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, it's there.
There it is. Maybe my pick's
Yeah.
not bold enough.
I mean, that kind of reminds me of James Robinson, but both these guys are just getting shoved down the boards. But we see bad team running backs, a la David Montgomery, James Robinson, who have great success. DeAndre Swift, I do have in one league. I think he's just too early. Where he's being drafted,
Dude,
RB17.
I got him in the 40s in one.
He was another guy that was being definitely shunned. But there's a steep drop off, in my opinion, after David Montgomery. Then you get after James Robinson, and then you get guys like Miles Sanders, and then if I had to go between
guys like Miles Sanders getting drafted above people like DeAndre Swift sometimes.
Yeah, between DeAndre and David, I do like David better though.
Yeah, me too. And my last one, I think AB is going to be the highest scoring Bucks receiver this year.
There we go. Now we're getting bold.
I don't even know if AB last year he had the most targets on the Bucks in games in play. He's the perfect type of receiver for Brady.
But honestly, I think Tom Brady cares about the character of his players over winning. So
dude, I don't know. He kind of.
I'm just kidding. No, he's trying to win.
Played with Moss. He's played with Aaron Hernandez.
I know, dude. He literally said he was like, "I want to be up there with Jordan." What did he say today? I want to be up there with Jordan and the other. Like, he is still going for it. You don't do what Tom Brady did and does without just being insane.
Yeah, he said, "I'm not chasing Montana. I'm chasing Jordan in terms of rings." When he had his second ring, and he now has 7.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Kieran,
Let me go. But I do think that AB prediction, I was trying to mold one around AB, but I couldn't. I didn't have the balls to do it myself, so I'm glad that you did. The coach came out and said he looks like he's from 4 or 5 years ago. He led the team in targets. He lived with Tom Brady last year, so I think that there's a connection and there's a want from Tom Brady for Antonio Brown to succeed. So I like that. I'll be quick because I have a couple that I need to chop out here that I didn't do. But quickly, before the hamstring injury, so this could be tentative, I think Eckler has the chance to be a top 3 running back in PPR. So we'll replace one of Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, or Alvin Kamara. I think he's going to be up there in the receptions, and the goal line work has never been there, and I don't necessarily anticipate it to be there this year. But if it does, that's what makes it bold. If he gets the touchdowns, I think the health is the only thing that's going to prevent him from being just an absolute stalwart in your lineup. So getting into my more stapled bold predictions, I have a history of nailing the quarterback ones. I think this year there wasn't one that I thought was going outside the top 6 or 7 that would be number 1 like I did last year and the year before, toot my own horn. But this year I think both Tom Brady and Jalen Hurts will end up in the top 6 quarterbacks respectively. I think Brady will lead the league in passing yards and be top 3 or 4 in touchdowns. With the weapons he has and the mission he's on and the running game that's, I don't think is going to be all that. They brought in Gio, which is going to be more passing yards for Brady. I think he'll lead the league in passing yards. And then Jalen Hurts, we talked about it. No offensive line. He's got a few more weapons. He's got the tight ends. For a guy who doesn't throw accurately, having big targets like tight ends is helpful. And I think that's going to be big for Jalen Hurts. I don't think the team's going to be good, but I think when things are breaking down and you're a quarterback who can move, he's going to move. And I think running is where his fantasy value is going to come from. So I think he's going to have over 700 yards rushing, which is Lamar Jackson-esque. So think back, you don't have to do that much in the passing game if you're rushing, if you have a high rushing baseline. And I think that'll get him into the top 6. Next, we've talked about it already. Collin Ridley is my guy this year. I hated it because I loved Julio, but the more I looked into it and the more I saw these hype practice videos of him just shredding top corners from other teams, I think he will not only be a wide receiver 1, not bold, I think he'll be the wide receiver 1 above Devontae Adams.
It's honestly not that bold. Like, well, you got to be one, obviously.
Calling anybody the first player is bold because probability states that's not going to happen. But I do think he's drafted as top 5, 6 receiver. So I'm calling him to be the number 1 wide receiver. And this one is much more bold. I think Chase Claypool will lead the NFL in receiving touchdowns.
Wow.
This is my bold prediction. It's also a hope and pray for me, as maybe I'll give you Justin Jefferson if this comes true. But Chase Claypool, I think he may lead the league in touchdowns and in TikToks, but in touchdowns, it comes down to his talent. He has a dancing talent, but he also has a size talent, and that is a talent. He is huge, he runs fast, and he gets the fade targets from Big Ben. You saw it all last year. He loves to throw it to him in the red zone. He loves to go deep with him. And I think that at the end of the day, like, talent wins out. He has 2 possession receivers in Deonte and Juju, and if he locks in with a guy who's huge and has the talent to bring down these balls, I think there's a good chance that he can have a ton of touchdowns. So we'll see how that one goes. That one I'm less confident on, but I'm going to say
lightning round. Rank the following 3 receivers: DK Metcalf, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown.
Justin Jefferson, DK, AJ Brown.
That's my favorite little tier of receivers. I love that little tier. How about you?
I'd go the same. I'm
gonna go JJ, AJ, DK.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's how I want it to go.
I think there's a pretty big difference.
You didn't have the guts
between JJ and the next 2.
You got to trust your ACL.
Yeah,
if I keep talking about my ACL, something bad's gonna happen. Anyways, let's get into Thursday night football preview real quick. We're about an hour in here, guys, so let's wrap it up. So much for that half-hour show. But Kieran, you're absolutely right. My blood's flowing. My heart's pumping. This is a lot of fun. Bucks backfield start. Anybody? Yeah, I like Rojo this year. I almost put Rojo in my bold predictions. Gallup, probably not. Right? Shootout, potential big shootout. Here's one I got for you guys. Do I start Dak against the Bucks in prime time or Herbert against the football team?
I'd start Dak.
Gotta go Dak.
It's gotta be Dak.
Yeah,
but
it's gotta be.
with the Bucks, you never know.
I think if you have a push, just quickly, if you have a push between any decision, start or sit, and it's razor thin, play the guy on Thursday night. Get invested in the game. Fantasy football is supposed to be fun, and watching.
I'm gonna be on a plane.
Yeah, but for everyone else, you want to watch the game.
For your opponent.
It might be a blowout, but we want this to be fun. The whole reason we do this is to have fun. And the first game, you want to be invested in it. So,
well, I'm hoping that here's my prediction for the game is it's tight in the first quarter. Bucks get ahead. Dak has to come back. They don't, but I think CD week 1, 150 yards.
Yeah.
I love that.
I don't have CD in any leagues because you can't
He got hyped up so much.
I think it's fine.
But
I don't have him in any leagues because I'm always in the front or the end of the draft, and he never falls in the front or the end. He's always in the middle there, 30-something awkward number.
I targeted him. I definitely think just start all your Bucks receivers, start all your Cowboys outside of Gallup, and maybe start Rojo, depending if you went 0 hero RB or not.
I mean, I really doubt you're starting a guy like Rojo. Come week 3, though, you will be starting your 6th, 7th, 8th round picks. I guarantee it. Super Bowl picks. Kieran, let's hear your boring ass prediction here.
Yeah, I wanted to be really boring and go Chiefs and Bucks, but just for the sake of creating some sort of rivalry, I think the Chiefs kind of walk to the Super Bowl, and I think Aaron Rodgers gets his revenge and should have gotten last year. They should have won that freaking game. That was bullshit. But I think Aaron Rodgers pulls it out, and they beat the Bucks in the NFC Championship game, and the Chiefs beat the Packers in the Super Bowl.
Nice.
I got the Bills over the Chiefs. I feel like the Chiefs are going to find a way to mess it up, and I think the Bucks are going to cakewalk to the Super Bowl.
Bills over the Bucks?
Bills over the Chiefs to make it to the Super Bowl.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I do think the Bills are going to beat the Bucks in the Super Bowl. I
got a fun one because we can all pick teams like y'all. I'm going Bills over Vikings. Vikings are my sleeper team this year. And the reason I like Justin Jefferson so much, and I'll give you a little analysis, is we have him in that tier with DK and AJ. And those guys were both sophomores last year, had their breakout season. Justin Jefferson was a rookie. He comes in, he's in the perfect team. He has a perfect complement quarterback. If Dalvin can stay healthy, the defense, so much hype around the defense this year. I think this is going to be a team without holes. And a lot of time, that's really what you need to win a championship. In this case, though, Josh Allen takes it home. Dude and dud of the week. It's week 1 of the NFL season. Let's get through these fairly quickly. Sorry, Kieran. My dude of the week is Raheem Mostert. I also like bonus dude, Laviska Shenault.
Yeah, for me, against who I've avoided in drafts, my dude of the week is Adam Thielen. They're playing the Bengals. I think they're going to light it up. Trey Waynes for the Bengals isn't playing. So Justin Jefferson and Thielen are going to have a field day. No Irv Smith. Herndon won't have the time to, get it acclimated. So I think they're going to be throwing it a ton. I think Thielen probably catches 2 touchdowns.
Nice. All right, I'm going Deandre Swift for mine. Going back to playing a good team, and he's healthy going in, hopefully. I think he's going to put up a big game.
Awesome. Dud of the week, Joe Mixon. You dead.
You sound like a broken record.
Good. At least I'm consistent.
Not sound like a broken record and say DeAndre Swift. I will go with Allen Robinson. Playing the Rams, I think the Rams defense was almost my dude of the week, but I didn't want to go defense first week. I think they're going to sack Dalton probably 46 times, and Jalen Ramsey will be covering Allen Robinson. So I love Allen Robinson season long, but I don't think he's going to have a hot start to the year.
Sweet. Well, wow.
Jared,
and just like that.
Oh, my dud is tomorrow night, Mike Evans is not going to put up more than 10 points. He's not going to put up more than 8 points. He's going to catch 2 passes. No touchdowns.
A very specific dud of the week.
Thank you.
We love that specificity. Awesome. I'm just designing my little, you can't see my Instagram post here for the story, starting to get the PR out there. Guys, what a fun show. And I got to give a special shout out to Kieran for whipping this together. Usually it's me getting the troops in line, but we really needed Kieran with that engine of his today. Kieran, I'll see you tomorrow night. in Nashville.
Ooh.
Any of our listeners are down in the old South in Nashville and we grab a beer, let us know.
Nashville's nickname, the Old South. AKA Nashville.
The Midwest is the New South.
We're gonna walk off the plane. Welcome to the Old South.
We'll post a couple polls on Twitter with some of the things we talked about today. We can post our DFS lineups if we don't want to go through them today. If we want to.
Quick DFS lineup brought to you by DraftKings, the king of drafts. And anyways, let's hear it, guys. You got them rigged up?
Yeah.
I want to hear Kieran's.
Yeah, I can go quick.
His pick.
I'm pretty excited about this one. I might have to make a late game scratch. I'll let you guys know if I do. But Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, 6,800. Austin Eckler and Raheem Mostert, Noah's dude at running back. At the wide receivers, I have Calvin Ridley and Justin Jefferson up top with the steal of the draft at $3,400, Marquez Callaway, the Saints #1. I don't think DraftKings knew that, made the update. And then in my flex, I have Antonio Gibson. At tight end, Gerald Everett from the Seattle Seahawks, who I think is someone to keep your eye on after week 1. And then the cheapest defense, the Texans. Hopefully, the rookie quarterback stumbles a little bit to Mike's chagrin.
Who was your quarterback?
Aaron Rodgers.
All
right, I got Jalen Hurts as my quarterback against the Falcons. Also have Antonio Gibson, Aaron Jones against the Saints, Marquez Callaway, of course. This is the steal of the lineup. Corey Davis against the Panthers. Stephon Diggs against the Steelers. Kyle Pitts is super cheap this week, so I do like him against the Eagles. And Calvin Ridley, and then I got the Jags instead of the Texans.
Well, we'll get something to watch that game for.
Yeah.
I got the classic Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson stack. Also have Mostert. James Robinson against Houston is a smash start. I got T. Higgins against Minnesota. I think they're going to be down. I think that's the guy this year. Also have Ridley. Looks like we can cancel him out. Nice. Everett, like where your head's at, Kieran, and my guy, wide receiver 1, Jacoby, Jacoby. Is the M silent too? And Jags defense. We were hot on that Jags Houston game. Guys, pleasure to be back. We will see you probably in 2 weeks. We'll see what the vibe is like, what the corporations are having these poor boys do. Anyways, that's been week 1. We have football tomorrow and a full slate Sunday. Me and Kieran gonna be out in Nashville wearing probably some cowboy hats and some boots, maybe some cowgirls with us, and just hitting the town, watching some games, throwing back hot chicken sandwiches. It's gonna be a smashing time. Are the Titans at home? Do we know?
I don't know. Good question.
We'll see. Maybe we'll get some scalps, some tickets, and hop in.
Go. Yeah, got it.
That'll be fun.
Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in to Guys Being Dudes Fantasy Football. I'm going to open my old laptop and play the theme song shortly. But before that, Jared's going to tell me if the game is a home game.
It is in Seattle.
No, that's week 2. I will be at that game.
Oh, yeah. Me and Noah are going to
We're going to both be at that game. That's the only reason we know.
I just pull up then.
You pull a week 2.
Oh, it is at home against the Colts.
Against the Colts.
At noon. Dude, we can go to that game.
Me and Noah.
Too bad the stadium's in Memphis. I just remembered.
Fearless host will be sitting right there.
Yeah, point to where we're sitting. Point to we're in the Hawk's Nest. There you go. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you guys in the future. Tweet us at Dudes Football if you have any questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening, and hope you guys have a great weekend. See you later.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.